Now that the ante finally gone off the air, we're straight from the KWR King Waspinator Radio World Headquarters. Total Waspination Episode 1, the post 9/11 Spectacular. Oh, good lord. What's up, people? Okay. I don't know when they're showing up. I got a little list of things to eat here. Kind of 9/11 to be a fairly political stream, unless it pops in and starts asking questions. Start off a post today from Tim Pool about an article that some idiot wrote. Drugs are a good thing. Camps for bigots, fantastic, and beyond all the obvious things that are wrong with that, just how much you have to be on, like, willfully, willfully ignoring that kind of frame of mind. Here's my one, that whole idea of reaction, re-education camps for bigots, down to my reaction to smokers when the Nazis scare first erupted after Trump was elected. How do you identify it if they don't have a physical action that they've done? If you just want to go based purely on if someone has bigoted thoughts or motivations, how exactly do you prove that? Do you seek confession? I guess the only way to verify something that's entirely in your head is if someone has done something physically discreet, have laws on the books, and if the person doesn't want to confess or says that they're not, how do you prove otherwise? What if they're a secret or a secret Nazi? Wouldn't they lie to place? That's not a reliable way to get the truth out of someone. Detector just by clenching and unclenching your asshole. I don't really know how to go detector test, and who's got time for that shit? Anyway, though, this the whole idea of trying to round up bigots, and that's not going to get you anywhere. So let's see. I wanted to think a little bit about something 9/11 related, and that's a common we see on the left of Muslim apologists. And the thing that's kind of funny is that whole thing started. He's the one that made a point of saying out, not lying into Islam and to hand down and people lashing out at people of Middle Eastern descent unfairly because, I mean, I remember like right after 9/11, the station I was working at was run by some Pakistani shit. It was like, hey, these aren't the same people. You can't blame the Czechoslovakians for something the Polish did, British for the Russians, kind of a thing. But the real reason why George Bush did that, like not wanting like a bunch of hate mobs and lynch mobs and vigilante justice going on, is also just to not offend Saudi investment. There's owner of the world because of all the oil. That kind of bridges into the whole idea of the real reason why diversity is being pushed so much in media and in business and in government. is it's a marketing scheme, largely born from international business and banking. And this, at its base, you want to sell your products, whatever that product is, to an international market. So you don't want to offend anybody, and that means tapping down on whatever local prejudices and beliefs and identity is going on in favor of the internationalist viewpoint. This is all a natural outgrowth of the fact that our businesses and corporations are these self-sustained entities, encouraged not to just refer each other based on nationalities or origins of an ethnicity. Large kind of the news media's noblesse oblige. I don't know how you spoke that French shit. The thing with news media and why they are right now is that they convince themselves that they're they're convinced that they figured out this get Democrats elected, and obviously that didn't work because they tried that in 2016 and it didn't work. Now did it? And they're basically enraged at the 2016 election. Donald Trump was supposed to guarantee Hillary was to win, at least from their point of view. And so now they're basically they're serving as an inquisitorial body. I mean, they're not murdering people, but they're serving as our online thought police, as they're trying to gain control of the information flow on the internet by use on the people who control the platforms that people use on the internet, threatening them basically with public humiliation or with damaging their business reputation, associating them with all sorts of nastiness like Nazis and the alt-right. Hate. I don't understand this fixation we have on there's no such thing as positive and negative emotions. That's bullshit. We just have emotions. They're reactions. They're stimuli driven. They're very random. We have next to no control over them or how we experience them. Are developed over time. Experience stimuli driven. They don't just appear out of nowhere. And biological evolutionary function. We need our ability to hate. We don't need it, but we don't need love to rule our lives either. Emotions are there. They should be acknowledged and enjoyed where possible, but they should be kept at arm's length. We must always keep our minds in control. Consciousness. Nature is indifferent, and we must learn to be indifferent too. We are to survive it. But anyway, though, we don't need the Inquisition. I mean, for God's sakes, a good chunk of why Europe across the world was to escape itself because of shit like the Inquisition. And to remember that despite that European origins genetically, America is not Europe. And in many ways, the whole idea behind the evolution, and strictly speaking, is a rejection of Europe and its world ways. And so, in this age of the and the bleeding over of conversations across international boundaries, ways before, careful that we don't overly conflate America's problems with Europe's problems, and some of that's immigration. It's because the word is the same, but it's massively for the quote unquote immigration problem in America versus the quote unquote immigration problem in Europe. Two different beasts. America's immigration issue is laughable in comparison, really. Latin civilization and Anglo civilization are extremely compatible. Extremely compatible. It's not at all the same as post-Christian secular Europe intermingling with Islam. These are completely different things that are going on. And from the American side of it, we need to be careful not to get too jumpy and hang into the same frame of mind and state of feeling threatened. To me, the real thing about the American immigration issues that's never really addressed by either political party is perhaps we might need to make a little effort to fix Mexico. And don't tell me there's nothing wrong with Mexico. If your country has 10 plus million people who need to leave it on a regular basis just to be able to make enough money to support their families, perhaps your country sucks. I'm no expert of the in and outs in history, but they've had several revolutions, notoriously corrupt local governments, and then there's all the stuff about controlling sections of land and just blatantly getting away with murdering government officials, and the military is never sent in to deal with it. Maybe he lifted some fingers to help with that somehow. Maybe not with our own military intervention, but just with resources or some guidance, or my own mad plan of maybe we should just annex Mexico and then they're all Americans and we all can just move back and forth however the fuck we want. If white people want to go to retire in fucking Cozumel and people from fucking Yucatan come up and live in merry old New England and Vermont or some shit, who cares? People should be allowed to live wherever the hell they want to live. Just because the Rio Grande is there, does that really make the two sides of land separate from each other? No. Yeah. But such thoughts are why I'm an imperialist bastard. The forgotten side of leftism. Communism gets all the focus. Communism. Empires don't cause gulags. Empires will openly bush shit, but we're honest about it. I guess that's always kind of like a lot of my problem with a lot of our war stance. It's not that I'm anti-war, I'm anti-dishonest war. After 9/11, the Iraq War, which most of us knew was coming, I mean, it was kind of just a common show. It was an election that if Bush got elected, we'd be going back to have Gulf War II, and then, behold, we got our excuse barely a year later. So as this big lie, they fake 9/11 connections, all the bullshit. All they really need to say is, "Hey guys, for the last 20 years, we've been lobbing missiles into this country. They've got a lot of oil. And we can jack their shit real easy in just a couple of weeks, in and out. But instead, we wrap it all up in all this bullshit about bringing freedom to people, which wasn't our intention. and we wrap it up a bunch of bullshit about regime change. We didn't really care, and that turned out to probably not be best, and just one of many instances, both before and after that. And that's what made it a big, ugly situation on bullshit. And those lies have tied our hands into committing to going through this puppet theater that what we're really over there to do is something benign and altruistic when it's not. And it would have just been the honest thing to do to say, hey, we're going to go over there and kick these guys' ass and take their stuff because we can. No one can stop us. And we've got all the fucking info we need to be able to do it nice and easy. And if we're not willing to thing because we think it's morally wrong, then we shouldn't do it in the first place. Personally, I think morality is full of shit anyway. There is no good and evil. They only exist as mental concepts. They're certainly not anything that exists in nature. No animal or natural phenomenon is good or evil. Only such things because human beings, through language, are able to articulate fantasy. Both of them are aberrant. Evil is disruptive of the natural order, and so is good. And they're both confused because a lot of the things that are ascribed to evil will actually build communities and make life better in aggregate for large segments of humanity. Whereas a lot of crusades, which the name of good, under many names, for many different gods. I mean, let's not forget the guys who took over those planes and flew them into the World Trade Center all those years ago now. They thought they thought they thought they were striking a blow against tyranny and evil. So maybe before you touch a blow against tyranny and evil of your own, maybe you should pause and consider that. One another man's day job. I believe the universe and humans as part of the universe are self-actualized. That our purpose is pretty bare minimum. We exist to justify the universe. If nothing was ever around to observe the universe, then the universe was pointless and might as well have just been nothing. Consider it, if there is no life, like even basic life, let alone life that's capable of understanding it, then the universe would have popped into existence, been a bunch of rocks and energy fields and light emissions, slowly over millions and trillions of years and back into nothingness. And without anything to have ever observed it or interacted with it or lived within it, it might as well never have existed because nothing was there to ever appreciate it. It wasn't able to be aware of itself under those conditions. And because the universe has life, the universe has a reason to be. It's simple. It doesn't like give us like a specific task. We're not gonna defy evil. We don't have to live good lives to be judged in specific anointed time. You can be whatever you want and do whatever you want, as long as you're able to survive and live with whatever fallout you create with your action. It's actually really, I think it's one of the Satanic Church's principles that might be traced to Anton LaVey, but I want to say Aleister Crowley was the one who said it, but it's the whole idea that the whole extent of actual real law, your actual real right, You're whatever you can accomplish, you can do. Basically, the truth of life is you can do whatever you can get away with doing. That's the only real limitation you have, for good or ill. And as I said, they exist. We live in a different universe and a different nature, and we're better served to be and to take everything so goddamn personally. Hmm. Showing up to watch my stream at this godless hour. So I guess 23 minutes is up. So I guess there's I guess hit subscribe. You smash that shit. Destroy it. So I don't know. Whatever. Have a good night. Happy 9/11 day. Try not to kill yourself.